Good morning, everyone. It's me, Lauren Cadillac, aka OG Cadillac, aka Mother of the Decade, aka your favorite lawyer. So, we're gonna watch Alessi Scissorhands just dissect and cross-examine this expert. Now, this dude works for the same engineering company as the guy that Alessi cross-examined and had no bachelor's degree. This dude's actually like a doctor of engineering or something. I don't know. He has the credentials. But he wrote his report using the information of the guy who didn't have the credentials, so there's an issue. And he pretty much designed his whole study around what the state told him. He didn't look at any other alternatives for the way this guy died. So, again, I am going to put it at 1.5 speed because I'm telling you, these people talk hella slow. I realize that that is the cadence of court. We do kind of talk slowly and clearly, so it is boring. And I understand anyone who's like, no, being a lawyer is boring. I get it. It's not boring. It's a fun, exciting career, but I can understand how people would get bored. Here we go.
Topic: laser scans. Part of your analysis involved conducting laser scans of portions of 1 Meadows Avenue, the house of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
Those laser scans were used, at least in part, to answer the question of whether the collision between Ms. Reed's SUV and Mr. O'Keefe's Chevy Traverse at 1 Meadows at approximately 5:07 a.m. on January 29, 2022, caused the right rear taillight of the Lexus to break, correct?
Correct.
And in that analysis, inches literally matter, correct?
You want to get it as accurate as possible.
And the reason why inches matter is because, and we're going to get to this, you tried, and you did it in your slide presentation on direct, you tried to see whether the Lexus lined up with the Traverse such that there could be a break of the taillight. That was part of your analysis, correct?
So the main part of the photogrammetry was to determine the speeds and the angles and the degree of overlap on the vehicles. And then we also looked at the damage from the video, or actually it's just where the snow was knocked off the rear of the Chevy Traverse, and document the height of that.
You said the main part. I don't want to engage in semantics. I want to go to my question of, isn't part of the laser scan analysis to determine whether or not those two vehicles aligned sufficiently such that the Lexus could break, the taillight of the Lexus could break coming into contact with the Chevy Traverse? Wasn't that part of your analysis, at least in part?
Yes.
Okay. Inches literally matter, correct?
It can, depending on which way you're going inches.
So the ring...
Dude's like a measurement scientist. Talking about inches can matter. Millimeters matter, bro.
Camera at 1 Meadows. You're familiar with that ring camera, right? At 1 Meadows? That ring camera at 1 Meadows was used as part of the laser scan process that you and your firm Aperture performed at 1 Meadows on October 2nd, 2024. Do I have the date correct?
I believe so, but like the videos were not literally used during the laser scans. We took the laser scans, the video, combined them together in a process called photogrammetry.
Okay, let's get this down to the fundamentals. You used, and that was my question, Your Honor, if we could publish the exhibit with regard to the ring camera.
Sure, what exhibit is it?
I got my Was that ring camera used for any part of your work?
Absolutely, the photogrammetry.
I just need to be able to finish my question, sir. Was that ring camera used for any part of your work at 1 Meadows on October 2nd, 2024?
Yes.
And it was used for what purpose?
In the photogrammetric process, to establish the position and dimensions of various things in the video, so then we could go back and overlay the vehicles and track the tracks in the snow, as well as look at the damage to the vehicles.
Right. So this was used to, as a basis, not the only one, to establish dimensions of the other work that was done in analysis at 1 Meadows, correct?
Correct.
You can take that down, Mr. Wolf. You know that the ring camera at 1 Meadows, in existence when Aperture did the work on October 2nd, 2024, was different than the ring camera that was in existence on January 29th of 2022, the date where you went through to see if those two vehicles aligned. Is that correct? The cameras are different.
That is correct.
And you know that the cameras are different, and you knew that as part of your analysis, correct?
Correct.
Did you document the differences between the two cameras as part of any work performed at 1 Meadows?
Yes.
And did you measure any differences there might have been between the location of the new ring camera from the older one that was in existence on January 29th of 2022?
No. What you did is you...
I am not a mathlete by any. I can't calendar. Calendar is like math to me. I'm not real good at adding. I am good at calculating my hourly rate, but I'm sorry. It just seems so obvious. And let me put this forward too. I've never measured anything accurately in my entire life. Okay, like geometry and like that kind of stuff is past my abilities. It's outside the scope of my brain's functioning. All right. What? You had one camera and now you have a new camera and you don't like take into account, you don't measure. You're trying to put someone in jail and you didn't. Oh my God. You guys, this is all the fault of No Child Left Behind. I am sure of it. I just blame everything on No Child Left Behind. Like, are you kidding me? I got like a C in geometry. Okay. And even I am like, it's a new camera. We should probably figure out where the old one was before we do these calculations. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The current Ring camera, in conjunction with the old Ring camera, and with the laser scans, we're able to, again, map the points onto the scene. That's why I showed you the report from the photogrammetry software that reported our error.
Sir, my question was just measurement, not your process.
Oh.
Did you measure the difference
I don't believe
between
so.
where the old camera was and where the new camera was?
No, it was angled slightly more to the right, though.
How would you know that if you were not retained on January 29th of 2022? How would you know where the original
How would you know
angles
where the
were?
fuck it was?
Because when you look at the first camera, the one on January 22nd, it's here. The new one is slightly over to the right.
That's an eyeball approximation analysis. That's not a measurement,
We're going to put a lady in jail behind an eyeball measurement analysis.
correct?
Well, I don't know that we actually measured it, but we accounted for it and corrected for it. But you can see, for example, what the original one shows, for example, to the left-hand side, compared to what the new one shows to the left-hand side, and it's angled more to the right.
Sir, you have experience with Ring cameras, correct?
I do.
And I think a lot of members of the public have experience with Ring cameras. You can move just the camera portion ever so slightly and change significantly the angle of the camera, can't you, what it captures? Just a small turn,
Potentially.
right? Even a millimeter turn can make a change. A 2 millimeter, a 1 inch can make a significant change with regard to what the camera captures, correct?
Could, sure.
So, did you measure whether the newer camera that was present on October 2nd, 2024 was installed to the left? And I'm talking measure. To the right, to the top or the bottom, relative to the camera that was there on January 29th of 2022.
So we solved for the camera
I'm
position.
asking if you measured, sir.
Oh, no, didn't measure.
So let's talk about some other differences with regard to cameras and Ring cameras. Different Ring cameras can have different levels of distortion, correct?
Potentially.
Cameras, well, are you saying that all Ring cameras have the same level of distortion?
No, but again, they're mass produced, so you could have some that have the same exact distortion. You could have some that have different.
And you don't know the comparative distortion between what I'm just going to now refer to as the old Ring camera that was there January 29, 2022, and the camera that you saw on October 2024, which I'll refer to the new camera. You don't know the difference in the distortion between those cameras as you sit here today, do you?
So we know enough information that if the distortions had been different, our errors would have been too high. And so the fact that our errors are within acceptable, what's called an RMS error, we know that the distortions are similar enough to give us accurate measurements.
Sir, that is speculation. That is not data. That is not a measurement. You didn't measure the distortion, sir, did you? Of the cameras? You didn't have the old camera to do it.
We didn't, but we had images from the old camera, and then when we get images from the new camera and solve those camera properties and then overlay data from the old images to the new images with the point clouds, if that distortion is too great, we will have too high of errors in our project, which is why I showed the error report from the photogrammetry process to show that we have checked for that and documented that our errors are in acceptable range so that we have confidence in our results.
You do not have information from the manufacturer of Ring. You didn't present it, and you don't have it, as to what is the acceptable level of distortion for the analysis that you did, do you, sir?
The
You have that from Ring.
I don't have it from Ring, but I don't need it from Ring.
So now let's go to, if cameras have different levels of distortion, that would change the analysis in reconciling the difference between their angles. That's a pretty straightforward proposition, sir, wouldn't it?
So it depends on how much difference it is, but we have accounted for that.
With which model of the Ring camera was present at One Meadows on January 29, 2022? Which model?
I don't know. I'd have to go look through the data.
Do you believe you, I'm not going to take up the time to have you look, but do you really believe you've got the model of the Ring camera that was in existence on January 29th of 2022?
I don't know. I
You
need to
didn't
look
present
through
it in your direct testimony, did you, sir?
I did not.
So do you have the model of the Ring camera that was present at One Meadows on October 2nd, 2024?
No.
So you don't have even the model for either one of them?
Nope, but we have videos from both of them and scans of the scene.
So now let's talk about another aspect of Ring cameras. They have mechanisms, as I was talking about earlier, that allow the user to adjust the camera angle, correct?
Correct.
And do you know whether there was a difference in the camera angle between the two cameras?
Yes, as we already discussed, there was a slight difference in the
But
angle.
you don't have a measurement of that, right, sir?
Correct.
Okay.
But we accounted for it.
So Wouldn't a difference in models of Ring cameras be relevant at all to your analysis of trying to reconcile any differences between them?
So if you have video from both of them, and you have laser scans with three-dimensional geometry of the scene, you can go in, and it's called a reverse camera analysis, and solve for the distortion properties. The scans give you the real-world dimensions. So once you know the real-world dimensions, you can then go in, and then solve for the camera lens properties based upon the real-world distortions. So for example, if there's a little bit of bending at the end, the laser scan data will show that, and you can correct for that, knowing information about the laser scanner.
I'll ask
the
the
laser
question.
scan data.
I'm sorry, I thought you finished, sir. Wouldn't it be relevant to your analysis of reconciling the differences to them? Wouldn't
No.
it be relevant?
No.
So you think the different models are irrelevant to any process you occasioned at one? It's irrelevant.
So the analysis of the video itself is more important than the models?
I'm not asking if it's more important. I'm just asking, would it be relevant?
No, I don't believe it'd be relevant.
So you're going to analyze some video footage, and you're a freaking engineer, and you want to recreate the footage, but it's a new camera, and you don't look up the old model number? I literally feel sick, y'all. Like, I feel physically ill. What? God grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change. Jesus H. You don't measure the distance? You don't check what the old model was? You don't even try to find an old model to recreate that? Literally, I feel ill. Like, I literally feel sick from this. Our government that we fund and support through our tax dollars, through our labor, is doing this shit to people every day. Literally, this kind of crap happens every day. The government pays $300,000 to some quack engineer who doesn't even take measurements so they could put you in jail? Why? You don't even know what happened. You didn't even... oh my God. I'm sorry. It literally makes me so mad. If I pay $300,000 for an expert, I expect measurements. It's like Yella Beezy. He spent $2 million for an assassin, and the dude did it in the middle of the highway in broad daylight. Like, no. When you pay $2 million, you pay for James Bond. Okay? This guy, I'm paying you $300,000, and you don't even measure? You don't even look up the old model number? Like, again, guys, like science, math, just go in one ear and out the other. They're not my thing. But even I know to go find the original type camera. Oh my God. You're an engineer and you're eyeballing it?
Other aspect of the cameras.
Don't have nobody eyeball it when they testify against me.
Are key parameters in a camera that the software needs to know focal length?
It is.
Is imaging size something that...
How are you going to know the focal length if you don't have the old camera? If you never even looked up the model number?
is an important parameter in a camera?
Yes.
Are sampling characteristics an important parameter in cameras?
Can be.
Is the principal point, you understand that concept, sir? Is that an important parameter in a camera?
Define how you're using principal point.
Sure. A principal point of an image is the point where a camera's direct line of sight, called, as you may know, the optical axis, intersects the image plane. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that the image's mathematical center, the principal point?
More or less, yes.
Bro is hired to do math and does not determine the mathematical center. It has the word math in it, bro. Like, what? What? I want the citizens of the state of Massachusetts, I want their money back for them. I want their money back for them.
And for high accuracy photogrammetric work, it's important to know if the lens is mounted centered over the image sensor due to the small manufacturing variances, correct?
Could be important.
And if the principal point is the center of the image. That's relevant. So doesn't that...
All right, let's skip ahead a little so that maybe my stomach will stop churning.
Does that slide that's part of your presentation depict a view from the top of the Lexus on the right and the Chevy Traverse on the left?
Correct.
And is that depicting contact between the two vehicles?
It is.
Now let's zero in a closer look, and that is a contact point. Am I
With the
correct?
tail
Correct.
light.
I mean, there's multiple points. There's
Multiple
more than one.
points, but it shows more clearly the contact between
Correct.
the two vehicles.
We're trying to show the angle of contact, but because it's two-dimensional image, you're losing some perspective. For example, here you're seeing the chrome piece on Mr. O'Keefe's Chevrolet, which is on the right. You're seeing it obviously behind where the Lexus is. So
Now, I kind of see where it would hit the freaking light and break it. That's what I see. I don't know about y'all. Oh, wait. Right there? This case is a crock.
Just to be clear, You're saying that that depiction does not show any contact between the taillight of the Lexus and the Chevy Traverse.
So the upper taillight, just to be clear, because the lower taillight is much closer.
Well, it's not only much closer, it's in contact, isn't it, sir?
It's very close. It's probably within an inch of being in contact.
Oh, so you
now you can measure? Now you know how to measure?
you say that even the lower part of the taillight is not making contact?
So, again, maybe there's a photo we could show or a scan. That is on the rear of the vehicle, and it contacts on the corner, which is just around, so maybe like an inch or so in front of it on the corner.
I'm just going with what you presented in your slide
Well, let's go to the next slides, and then
Sir,
we can
I
see
will
it.
determine which slides we go to on my questioning.
I'm just hoping
so
to
now
answer
let's
your
go to, Mr. Wolf, the next slide.
There we go.
In your presentation, my question is zeroing in. Are you saying that that slide does not show contact between the tail light of Ms. Reed's Lexus and any part of the Chevy Traverse?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly what it shows. You can see a little better here. Again, we tried all these different angles, which is why all these slides are in there. But you can see some of the geometry of the light. This structure, and again, remember I said the Chevy kind of curves in as it goes up a little bit?
Let's go to the next slide. 40. 40, yes, please. Is it working? 41, Your Honor.
That's Exhibit 41?
Where the fuck is that plate from? It has a Texas boat. These are not our plates. Our plates are like the square, more like square than rectangle. What is that? This case just irks me, bro. Yesterday, or not yesterday, a few days ago, he was on direct. He couldn't even say spoiler. He was like the wing. He was calling it a wing. It's a spoiler, and he called it a wing. I was like, ew. Like, what?